I've got a series of photos here, and we're going to share those with the folks. But I wanted to just see if I can zero in on those photos now and speak about them. And so we have the photographs that show the center section in its final stages. Then we've got this beautiful photo of the leading edge and trailing edge ribs put on. And it's so cool to see the shape of the Halifax wing forming up. And so we've talked about that quite a bit. But here's what I wanted to tell the folks is, I don't know how the heck it happened, but thanks to Peter Whitfield, one of my spies out there looking for Halifax parts, Peter Whitfield put me on to a Bristol Hercules engine at a museum in Connecticut. And so I have purchased this complete Bristol Hercules engine, including cowlings and all accessories. I have used some of the donated funds to our charity to buy that engine. So guess what, Scott? That becomes engine number 8. We have 8 Bristol Hercules engines. And of course, we've got 3 beautiful ones that are ready to run, and we're working on those all the time. But we need another 3 or 4 engines to make that final number 4 engine for the Halifax, a running Bristol Hercules powered Halifax. And so that would be the next one. And so you and I will go and get that later on this spring. We'll use your truck, that Scott, that engine with all the panels on it and the motor mounts and everything. I'm sure it's going to be good for 2,500 physical pounds of weight. So
yeah. I've got an enclosed trailer, but we would need a forklift to load and offload, and my trailer has a ramp, so we may have to rent a trailer, an open trailer or something like that.
Sure.
The
So
truck
I've
can
made,
definitely tow it.
great. And I've made the down payment on that engine, so it's ours, but I still have to make the final payment. And we'll talk about money here, donations, support, because at this time of year, it is very lean for Halifax 57 Rescue. People are just starting the new year. And so we do need some really mucho support to continue on. We don't have enough funding right now to do another 2 weeks of diving in Sweden, but that's always been that way for the past 2 or 3 years. So folks, don't forget about us. But now let's go on to the next goodies. And Scott, I think you've seen these photos, but we want to show them to our audience. Here's a beautiful Halifax bomber complete nose perspex. And it was found once again by Peter Whitfield. He found it at an antique store in Cullen, Scotland. And so we purchased that for $2,000 Canadian. And let me tell you, folks, I've been looking for 20 years for a nose perspex of this size that fits the Halifax. And I've only ever found 2. So now we have a second nose perspex. So between the 2 of them, we can make a beautiful nose perspex for our Halifax front tip of the nose. So I was really pleased that came about. And one of our Hercules engine specialists, he's a real expert. He's got 2 Bristol Hercules engines in Thirsk, Yorkshire, Patrick Smart. When he heard about this nose cone, he said, "Karl, how can I help?" And then he came up with the idea, why don't I drive to Scotland and save your nose perspex for you? So he drove over 400 miles on a weekend and picked up the nose perspex, and now it's safe and secure in Patrick's shop in Yorkshire. And this nose perspex came from one of the Halifaxes. Over 100 Halifaxes were cut up in Scotland at a scrapyard. So a beautiful add-on. And so what we did was I researched the idea because the Halifax propeller blades are so rare and they just don't exist. Folks, Lancaster propeller blades are dime a dozen compared to Halifax propeller blades that fit the Hercules engine. So innovation, brainstorming. Andy Ward said he had a 3D printer that was big enough to make Halifax blades. So here we are. Look at this photo of these 3 blades been printed on a 3D printer at Andy's house in Lincolnshire, and he shipped them all to me. And dumb me, I said, oh, that's okay, Andy. I'll glue them together and sand them down to get them ready for painting at the Bomber Command Museum. So here you can see after hours and hours of sanding, the 3 blades are ready. And, you know, you can't see my knuckles, but they're kind of raw. Anyways, I sanded the heck out of them and got them nice and smooth. And then Jack McWilliam painted them. He's on the Mozzie team at the museum. And here's the final product getting ready to be installed on the wall at the Bomber Command Museum. And you can see this beautiful 13-foot diameter propeller blade after assembly, painting and assembled. And there is Hugh Gilchrist. He's a great guy. His uncle was killed in action in a Halifax bomber. And so he's helping me with Bristol Hercules engines, but he also helped me assemble this prop blade. So, you know, it's like that Johnny Cash, one piece at a time, and folks were doing it. I guess that's the front burner items. Scott, if you want to make any comments on these photos that you've seen so far, what do you think of all these goodies?
It's brilliant, you know, and it just goes to show, you know, this is not a linear path. You know, we have to try multiple paths, different times. You know, one minute we're working on the wing, next minute you're trying to find an engine, next minute you're trying to find a nose perspex. Incidentally, those perspex are extremely difficult. You know, if we had to make one, it's extremely tough to pull that acrylic over. You know, you'd have to make the mold. So, you know, it just goes to illustrate how we have to be multi-pronged in our approach. We have to be looking for parts, diving, fabricating, you name it. We have to do, and it makes it tough to plan because you can't have a lot of where we go next depends on, say, what you find, right? And
Right.
but we have to roll with the punches. We have to be innovative. We have to be creative, and we have to be nimble, which is very, you know, those are buzzwords these days that corporations are using, but very much so. We're running a little kind of a, you know, a business, you know, but meanwhile we're trying to get this job done, and we have to be innovative, just like everybody else.
Yeah,
Excellent,
well,
good, excellent work, Karl, finding that perspex and getting those blades done up. That's brilliant.
well, thanks, Scott. And, you know, like, I don't know how you spell innovative and all that, but you know, when I'm trying to be innovative, do you know when you can tell is I go, wait a minute. And then all of a sudden, either something will pop up or somebody will send us an email saying, I saw this, or we'd like to get one of those. And folks, let me tell you this, that propeller blade that we replicated for a Halifax, it fits the Sterling bomber, it fits the Bullfighter. We can make you a complete replicated giant propeller blade like what you just saw, and we can get it to you for a memorial, for a airfield, eye candy, whatever you want. We can now that we've prototyped them, thank you, Andy Ward, what we want to do is trade for Halifax parts. So, or how about this? We could charge you cash for the Halifax replicated propeller and hub, and then we could use that money to buy the parts that we need that we find elsewhere. So you see, it's innovation. It's things that whatever we got to do to make our Halifax the most important airplane in Canadian aviation history. Yes, Scott, I know your dad flew the Lancaster. But what I'm getting at is if you could only pick one airplane in the Canadian Air Force that would be the most historic, with the most battle record and the most sacrifice, you've got to lean towards the Halifax in Canada. So, folks, we're every year at this time, we're starting out with back to square one on a budget. We have to buy parts. We have to keep Scott's shop running. We have to air cargo rare Halifax items across the ocean. And we're doing the best we can with the money we have. So we sure hope that you will donate. You can find us very easily. Just do a Google search, put in fundraiser 417498. You'll see this credit at the end of the show. And we really need your help to keep going. And if you didn't see that wing behind Scott Knox, if you didn't see that nose perspex, if you didn't see that beautiful propeller that we've replicated, and I've got a major announcement about actual Halifax propeller blades coming in the near future. But all of this is dependent upon your support. And Scott, is there anything you want to add? Have I missed anything about trying to reach the people to keep us going?
No, I think we're good. I mean, we don't want to sound like a broken record or anything, but we do need support to keep going, and this is a worthy cause. Yeah, no, I think that you've hit the nail on the head there, Carl.
Sure. And so I guess short and sweet. That would be a program for maybe this month. We'll try and get a monthly report to you via the internet, via this program that we will have on YouTube and share with the world. And so have a look at our credit at the end. Consider us as being go-getters that are putting together a super historic airplane for Canada. And why do we do this? We do this for those veterans who are not with us anymore, but have given us our freedom. So folks, just keep that money coming in there, and we'll keep doing this magic and keeping things going for you. And that's all I can say. We are pressing on regardless. And thanks for watching today, folks, and hope to see you soon and hope to hear from you. Pressing on regardless.
And never for more shall we be left behind.